This is Jay Delsing, author of the new golf book, You Wouldn't Believe Me If I Told You. It's an unforgettable memoir of golf, grit, and a blue-collar kid on the PGA Tour. Get yours at jdelsinggolf.com. That's jdelsinggolf.com.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. Competed in nearly 700 PGA Tour events, 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, welcome to Golf with Jay Delsing, coming to you from the Car Shield studio. I'm sitting here with my good buddy, Timmy McKernan. Timmy, thanks for joining us here in our studio.
It's a pleasure, Jay. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Now, this is our first adventure into video, which, you know, I've had the face for radio for 7 to 8 years now, and so this is going to freak plenty of people out. But thanks for joining me. You know, one of the things we got to talk about is your show, TMA. Tell the listeners, especially the guys who are my generation, how it started, where did it come from? Because I know you have a background in TV and radio and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, we've been doing the show since 2004. And really, at the outset, the logic was there wasn't really a sports talk show in the area that appealed to younger people. It was kind of a dated medium at the time when we started it. And so just looking at it through the lens of economics supply to communications, there was a demand, but there wasn't a supply. And so we thought, let's provide the supply. So I was doing television at the CBS affiliate in St. Louis and started at KFNS 590 and working with Frank Cusimano, who is at KSDK in Canada.
A legend.
Yeah, legend.
Legend, absolutely.
And when he would take off on vacation, I would bring in Martin Kilcoyne, who I would work with in television.
Another legend.
From a Fox affiliate, and Jimmy the Cat Hayes, who was at what was called Fox Sports Midwest. And we would fill in for Frank. And we would certainly do a show that was a lot different than Frank's, which really irritated Frank's longtime listeners. But we were delighted in the fact that they were irritated because we felt like that meant we were doing something right, as counterintuitive as that might sound. And so right around 2004, an ownership group from Atlanta came in to buy KFNS, and they said, whatever that weird thing is that goes on when Frank's out of town.
What do we call that thing?
We would have put that on as our morning show. And so we started in July of 2004, and here we are 22 years later, somehow infecting the airwaves 2 decades later.
You know, it's interesting because when you talk about that perspective, when I started this show, I don't want to be talking about how to hit a 5-iron from a downhill lie. You know, I want to tell stories. I want other athletes, performers, and whomever to say, like, why do you like golf? And what's it like? You know, you could get professional hitters out throwing 90 miles an hour, but now you're out trying to get a golf ball in the hole and watching you kind of make a mess of things.
That's why I love your book. Your book is so great because it's a bunch of different stories, and they're quick hitters, and they're entertaining as hell. That's the name of the game, man. People love stories, and it's super fun.
Well, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, especially in professional golf, because you put 3 competitive dudes together for 4+ hours, weird stuff's going to happen, as you know. So it's kind of fun to tell those stories, but you can't really tell the great stories. You know, those are ones that are...
There's a code that violate the code.
We're not doing that. Yeah. Well, so Timmy, I know you love golf. One of my favorite things to ask people is, how did you start? Who was influential? And take us through that. Because it's, as we know, it's the greatest.
Oh, it's the best. I can't get enough of it. I'm absolutely addicted. You know, I probably didn't swing a club for the first time until maybe 10 years old at Tower T. You know, I'm a South City kid.
Yeah.
And I know you're North Side.
Yeah.
You know, and so there weren't a whole lot of options unless I wanted to go over to Francis Park and try to figure out how to hit a ball. So I went to Tower T and didn't really know what I was doing. And I think there might have been a 140-yard hole, and to us that might have been 600 yards in our minds,
right?
Because it was 140 yards. What
are we gonna do?
Exactly right. How are we gonna
one shot
there?
Yeah.
So that's how we first started playing, and I think maybe when I was 15 or 16, the first, I guess, real course, if you want to call it was Ruth Park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Home of Fivesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's where we would play.
Now, was your dad influential? Was your mom? Was it just?
I think I was able to beat my dad from the first time I picked up a club, which is an indication of me being a wizard. The man's he's really going through it still.
Oh, yeah. His game's counting, but he doesn't. Yeah.
He's still going through it.
Bless him.
Yes, indeed. So he would certainly take us out there, but I just would play with buddies and absolutely loved doing it. But I stopped playing in 2004. Not that I played a whole lot anyway, because I started playing poker. And I started making some money playing poker, which sounds really weird, online.
Right.
And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to take time. I'm not making money playing golf. Why not spend the time on playing poker, which certainly is the antithesis to golf's social interaction, sitting there clicking and folding for 10 hours. Right. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So I didn't play golf, Jay, from 2005 until my brother got married, and he got married at Hilton Head in 2016. And so I'm like, oh, we're here. I might as well play. So for 11 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's truly a monster regret.
Do you remember one instance where you either hit a shot or something happened, maybe you hold a putt for money, whatever it was, where you're like, oh, I can't do this enough. I can't, because I can remember to me the first time, and I grew up in the hillbilly section of town up at North Shore, and it was right on the river, which would it was a 27-hole facility. 9 or 10 holes would flood every year, so there's a nice fishy smell all the time in the springtime, and we would go down there. But in the wintertime, we would sleigh ride down one of the par threes and would dump us right onto Riverview, which wasn't any problem at all. For our parents were like, yeah, go ahead and go sleigh riding. Maybe not so many kids will come home. Maybe 3 kids will leave and 2 will come home. You know? But when it came to playing, I'll never forget this. I played by myself all the time, which is you're a dad. It's unusual, you know, but I hit this one ball and I'm like, it went dead straight. I felt nothing. And I'm like, how do I do that again? Yeah. So I'm like basically sprinting after these balls, trying to do it again. And it took weeks. And then it started coming a little more frequently. And then I'm like, I got to show my dad. Well, I played probably 54 holes with my dad and just duffing them all, thinking that I'm going to hit this pure one. And then he doesn't look. And I strike this driver that goes probably 250. Of course, North Shore had no grass. Yeah. So if you got rolling, it's going. But it was that feeling, T, that I was like, oh, how do I do that again? I just got to do this again.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. Yeah, I got a hole-in-one at Gateway. Let's pull up Gateway. So 12's the short par 3, am I right? And then 13's a par 5, so it's 14. Yeah. But unfortunately, I was out there by myself at like 7 o'clock. And I was pretty sure it went in. And so there was a father and son behind me. And I said, will you drive up to the hole with me to confirm it? And sure enough, the ball was in the hole. And so the next day I tell the story on the show. So this is probably around 2004. Jimmy the Cat Hayes hears the story. He calls the head pro over at Gateway off the air and has him call in the next morning and say, hey, we've had a problem out here with kids running out to the hole and putting balls in there, making people think they got holes. No. So unfortunately, you probably didn't get a hole-in-one. It was just one of the scandalous youths that are hiding in the woods behind number 14.
Oh, that's brutal.
But I did get the hole-in-one, the Cats. I did get the hole-in-one.
You know you're watching the Cat.
I know you're watching the Cat.
You saw it. Well, so you have boys, and I know that they're, I know at least Jackson, I know he's involved in the game.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking about the PGA Tour, you start thinking about LIV and everything, where do you stand on some of this stuff? The tour is condensing. There's only 125 jobs to start with, which most people don't understand. There's nothing like it in the world of sports. I mean, there's hundreds of players in every other league. And, we have 125 and now it's getting smaller. And there's better players, Tim, from all over the world.
And younger.
And I mean, they just look better and better. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm in awe. I think, I'd be curious what your opinion is on this. I think the advent of the TrackMan technology and simulators that allow people from, non-Florida, non-Arizona areas, and then of course you're talking about the global growth of the game, to improve with that data and that instant feedback as opposed to how we grew up, just either playing or going to the range and not necessarily knowing what the attack angle was or the club face. I mean, all of these things, you get the spin rate, that they can optimize their game at such a young age, in addition to having that flexibility that they're able to hit the ball so absurdly far. That is why I think, I'm curious.
Yeah.
I think that is why you've seen this spike in caliber of play, but also love of the game for young people.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm visiting with Tim McKernan. We're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. We'll be right back with more. Hi, this is Jay Delsing. Every Sunday morning, you can hear me and Dan McLaughlin on 101 ESPN. We bring the game of golf down to earth with fun and insightful interviews with famous golfers and other sports celebrities. You'll hear humor and commentary on the game today. Plus, there'll be info on giveaways, insider tips on how to improve your game, and much, much more. Listen live or wherever you stream your podcast. Visit jdelsinggolf.com for more information. Hey, welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. This is Tim McKernan, my guest, and we're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. And Timmy, we were just talking about the game of golf, the speed the players have, the techniques the players have. It's so weird because you see so many players almost swing identically. Mm-hmm. And when I was growing up, you had guys like Miller Barber and Chichi Rodriguez, and Jack comes up who's really upright, and then you got Lee who comes up who's really flat. You just don't see a lot of variation anymore, but what you see is amazing talents. Mm-hmm. And everybody, and this is all the Tiger Woods effect, it's just, I mean, every single year, you try to write Tiger a note and say, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being born. Thank you for loving golf. Thank you for, because, Tim, when we used, back in the day, we would do outings to help supplement our income. We didn't play for much money. All of a sudden, Tiger comes out, and nobody wants to do outings anymore. I'm like, I do. I'll still do them. Let's go. I mean, I'll come over there for, too much money a day that I'm worth. I'm not worth that. But what I don't think people understand is that because of what Tiger started, we've got all these eyeballs in the game, all these different smart people going, hey, what if we did this? How about, shot length? We didn't keep track of you know how people kept track of our stats when I was playing is we had a lady who was somewhere between 75 and 90 walking down the fairway with a clipboard, and every once in a while I'd hit a fairway and go, because I didn't hit many fairways, I'd be like, here's the fairway box over here. And she's like, what are we talking about? To go into shot lane where the entire course is there. Yeah. And so once the data points got over 1 billion shots, all of the whole world changed in terms of betting, in terms of trying to understand. One of the things that just completely pisses me off about the Ryder Cup this last year is that how we totally whiffed on the data. And we ran Keegan ran, and I love Keegan Bradley, but he ran Colin Morikawa and Harris English out twice. And of the 127 permutations of our team against theirs and two-man teams, they were 127 out of 127. And I'll sign off on it one time. You got a feeling you can squeeze a point out of it, great, but not a second time. Yeah. And then we also had Russell Henley pairing with Scottie Scheffler and not knowing what tees for him to tee off on the alternate shot. And 63% of Russell Henley's drives go right to left. Mm-hmm. We got him hitting it. So it was just one of these misses when it comes to the prep. But all that I relate back to the Tiger effect in golf. Even in stuff with the PGA Junior League and things that are going on with your kids and how the kids are starting younger. They've got oh man, they're getting instruction. They're just excited about it. It's all Tiger.
And that's the absolute effect. That's when it went from being on the periphery to the mainstream, and people love doing it. And I also feel like the pandemic also was some form of a resurgence for the game as well. Speaking to the data, Jay, I have a friend of mine who was working in the service industry and has gotten to the point that I guess I would call him retired. He's younger than me, and he's done it through daily fantasy sports and golf. And the golf data is so effective that if you know how to build out your algorithms, which is what he does, that it is a career to the point that I recall Xander Schauffele, I don't remember what the tournament was, but he missed about an 8 to 10 foot putt. So certainly not a gimme by any means. Mathematically, it's not, but he obviously can make it. And it was the difference between this guy winning 300,000 and 50,000. That's how big the gap was between first and second place. And I said, I have to ask you, just because I'm curious, even though you can tell me I'm super out of line for asking, which I wouldn't blame you. Like, how do you feel about it? He goes, I'm disappointed, but I know I'm probably going to win again here in the next couple of weeks, so I'm cool with it. Because he knows what's going to happen. And you can dial in specific things, which I know is what Dodo Molinari did so effectively for the European team for the last 2 Ryder Cups. That data is there, so it is a little odd that the United States didn't capitalize and especially utilize it for the course setup when it was a home course.
Well, and Arcos bought Molinari's company, and they offered the U.S. the same data. And we turned it down.
Pass on that. We passed.
What pass? Bad pass. So it's just one of those things where you're like, this Ryder Cup is so I had Nathan Cards on, and Nathan is going to be the next president of the PGA of America. He's the director of golf out at Wing Haven, and just a great guy. First person from our section to hold national office with the PGA of America. And I had him on the show, and he said, the Ryder Cup is so much fun, and it's so cool, and it's not really whether you win or lose, and that's where he lost me. He goes, it's just part of being part of it's really cool. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, not at all. And I know it didn't mean a lot to Jack Nicklaus, but that was a totally different era because the European team wasn't even the European team. They were Great Britain and Ireland, and they were nothing. Those guys, we rolled them. It was like, Tony Jacklin, pick up your putt. We don't care. I'm going to make this anyway, sort of thing, And then when you go to what it is now because of Seve and Olafable, and it's everything to the Euros. It's everything.
It truly is. I'm supposed to take my entire family to Ireland for Adair Manor in 2027. It's for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and that's what we got them. And we haven't been back to Ireland. My mom hasn't been on a plane since she was pregnant with me.
There's an MC in your last name.
You better believe it.
This is a lot of interest.
Yes, you better believe it. This is a sacred trip. So my mom was, when she was pregnant with me, she was on a plane with a bomb scare. So she hasn't gotten on a plane since I was born. So we either said, we'll drug you up real nice,
what are we going to do?
or you can get on a boat, just like we came over after the potato famine, and you're going to this thing. I'm in no matter what. So we're going and can't wait to go. I haven't experienced it, so especially to be over there and experience that's been in the United States.
So here's what's interesting. One of the things, obviously I've spent way too much time thinking about the Ryder Cup, but we choose courses that the U.S. has no advantage on because our players don't play it more than theirs. And Tim, when you know this, when you play a course, like when I qualified for the U.S. Open and we played at Pebble Beach, I was like, this is a home game for me. I played here 150 times. Then you go to a place like Wingfoot and go, I'm going to shoot 3 million. The roughest is high, and I have no idea where I'm going. I've never seen it. So when the Euros chose Adair Manor, the entire European team was like, what are you doing? We don't know this course. But the JP McManus and those guys are huge golf supporters. They own it. So they probably didn't take a whole lot of cajoling to get this thing done. But it's going to be interesting now because one of the things that happens when you're not as comfortable on a golf course, it usually comes down to putting. Most of it always comes down to putting. It's really the team that putts best usually going to win, right?
Certainly the European team. And
yeah. But when you start thinking about, this is my 5th round that I've ever played here, it's a hell of a lot more level playing field.
Yes, that changes the game quite a bit. Who do you think, maybe who would you like to see as the U.S.?
Well, I know what's going on, and I know that we're going to wait till the end of March before stuff is announced, but I think there's the obvious choice is, Tiger is never been captain. Unfortunately, I don't know how much it means to him. I'm not saying he's not a patriot and things like that, but when he started, all he cares about is his legacy and what he's won and what this thing is going to look like after he's dead, right? And so that's why he wanted the major championship. He wanted the total number of wins and all of that stuff. Nowhere on Jack's record does it talk about the Ryder Cup. Yeah. And so it was never, but that's a different era.
Yeah.
So I think a guy like Stuart Sink would be fantastic. First of all, Stuart's exceptionally bright and very detail-oriented. A lot like Luke Donald. Yeah. Luke is a really bright guy that looks at things a little differently. He's also educated at Northwestern. Stuart went to Georgia Tech. But I know Stuart extremely well. I think he would be great. Brent Snedeker is another guy who's going to be, I think, on the short list. But when you start thinking about what's happened in the world of golf and all of the live and everything, you think about Phil Mickelson not having a home in it. It's crazy. It's absolutely
a part of
not even a consideration.
I was listening. I think I was listening to a conversation Justin Thomas was having with Smiley Kaufman on his show this week. And Thomas brought up the idea of Tiger possibly being the captain at Air Manor. And I thought, oh, wow. And if they did have him as a captain of the Ryder Cup, would they prefer it to be a road game or would they prefer it to be...
Personally, T, I think, this is his team to turn down. The only thing that I think would get him there is JP McManus. They have done a lot of things together. Not that Tiger needed a whole lot of support, but he got a lot of it from JP. Yeah. And so that might be a way to, if Tiger does anything, if we can get Tiger to play in the Stifel Charity Classic in St. Louis, Tim, we'll have over 100,000 people in North. You won't have enough. First of all, not enough tickets, not enough food, not enough concessions, not enough security, not enough parking, not enough anything.
Yeah, not enough anything. You're exactly right.
And it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
It will be amazing.
What percentage would you put on that happening?
The only thing, I think Tiger's first tournament's going to be in he's going to play the Champions Tour. I really believe that. He loves to beat people. He hasn't beat anybody in a long time, and he's got to beat the hell out of the Champions guys. He's just signed a deal with Insperity. They have a tournament in Houston in May. I have a feeling, he said he's going to play Augusta, and I was like, oh, it's pain. I'll watch anything he does. I'm a massive fan, but I hate watching him try to walk.
Yeah,
in this Augusta, you've been there. It's the worst walk on tour. Not even close. The up and downs are ridiculous. So the thing that we have going for us, besides the fact that it's a phenomenal tournament, he loves St. Louis. He did his first Tiger Woods Foundation event in Forest Park as a kid.
Okay.
I mean, he was 20 or 21. And it was really well attended, super cool, before anybody really knew what he was going to be. So he has an affinity for St. Louis, but it's a playoff event. And it's the second playoff event. Yeah. So if he's going to want to win, he's going to want to play majors.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that could win 3 majors and take all the playoff events off except for the finals and still win everything. So, but from that aspect, we've got a chance. If it's a normal event on the schedule that's not tied to the USGA, the PGA Championship, anything like that, I don't think we have much chance. But because it's playoff, because it's Schwab related, there's a chance.
It's a great event already. Yeah. I've taken my family to it each of the last couple of years, and we love going. But then you add that into it. That's a landmark thing.
Well, and because the playoff event, it just takes the level up, an extra notch, and it's going to guarantee you that, you're not going to get many, if anyone, skip it. Like we haven't been able to have Jimenez here. Yeah. He usually has a tournament in Spain somewhere, and Harrington is kind of touch and go. Yeah. He played here once, he won it once, but Norwood West is really surprising golf course, Tim, how much the players love it. There's a couple of greens that drive them crazy, but the putting surfaces, the old school nature, you walk off a green and, here's the next tee. It's not like you're walking around like, where's the 13? How did I get on 14 and I'm only on hole number 5, So that old school nature is what the old guys like a lot. And one thing, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Mike Knoll, the superintendent, Norwood, usually keeps the greens at a 11 and a half, 12 and a half, something like that. And the old geezer's coming to town and they slow them down. They're unrest, man. Everybody'd be so mad.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I hope it happens. It'd be incredible.
It would be a great thing for St. Louis and just golf in general. I mean, the one thing that's super cool about the Champions, and I guess we should talk a little bit about the BMW tournament coming in too, because I know that you're a huge fan of that. Were you aware that all the proceeds from the BMW go to the Evans Scholarship Foundation and support that? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how important that is. So we just had 9 kids qualify for the Evans and go down to the Evans house at the University of Missouri for next year.
How about that?
And we've had 2 years where we've had no Missouri kids at all fill those beds. So kids from Iowa, from Chicago have been staying at the Missouri house, and that did not sit well with me.
I don't blame you. Well, that's an incredible thing. It's an opportunity sitting there not taking advantage of it. That's a great thing.
Free college?
Yeah. How can they not do that?
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's we just where I am just brought back the caddy program and Evans Scholars. They've been up there. So that's
is that Westboro?
That's at Westboro.
Absolutely. Yeah. I heard you got Jeffrey Fields over there. He's a stud.
One of my favorite people in the world, much less to the game of golf.
Loves the game, and just, he's a warrior too. He's there all the time. You can tell that he's got a real fear for it. Can you hang out for one more?
Oh, yeah, I'll do whatever. I'm honored to be here. I'm thrilled. One more, 2 more, whatever you want.
We're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We'll be right back with more. A golfing experience of a lifetime. Custom golf trips with me, Jay Delsing. I've played on the PGA Tour for over 25 years and had the pleasure of playing the greatest courses in America, and now you can too. Experience courses like Pebble Beach, Wingfoot, Whistling Straits, and many more. Packages include meals, drinks, daily lessons, and tips from me, and much, much more. Book your experience now and email me, jay@jdelsinggolf.com. The golf course is waiting. Welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. I'm sitting with my buddy, Timmy McKernan. We're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. And, oh, gosh, man. Okay, so let's get into a little wager talk.
Sure.
Okay, because
we both live by it.
There's a couple of things that I get asked a lot.
Okay.
First of all is, how can I hit it further? And I'm like, turn the clock back, bro. Now, there is one way, Tim. If you can get the ball centered up and hit it out of the center of the face, which is really hard, I get it. But if you can hit the ball out of the center of the face, you're going to hit it far. Mm-hmm. There's just no two ways about it. But then I get, who's going to win this event? And I don't know if you know who Keith Stewart is. He does Read the Line. And he puts out a weekly subscription. And he's a friend of mine, and he's great at it. You said you have a friend.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Does your friend do this just personally, or does he?
No, it's personal. What I have found in my experience with gambling, and there's a long list of it, and the statute of limitations is up, so we can talk about it freely, is that those who know don't talk, and those who don't know talk. So oftentimes you have these touts on social media, and they don't have a clue.
Right.
And so in the case of my guy, he doesn't. If anything, it's like when I used to, be down at Busch Stadium with the Cardinals, or down with the Blues at Enterprise Center back in the day when we had the Rams at the Dome. You understood if I was out of the locker room with those guys hanging out, it was understood the things that are being talked about here would be violating the code if I were to talk about it on the air.
Right.
In this guy's case, I understand. Before, like, we're sitting here right now and we have some big time golf tournaments coming up. It's a great time of the year for golf fans. And I don't want to ask him in advance because I feel like I'm asking him for proprietary information.
Yeah.
Now, when Sunday rolls around, you and I are doing this a few weeks after the Cognizant Classic.
Yep.
And I texted him on Sunday morning. I think it was rainy weather, so I wasn't going to be doing anything. I was going to be watching it. And I had just gotten back from Jupiter for Cardinal spring training, so I'm familiar with that course. Played it a few times. I said, who do you like today? He goes, well, I've been on Nico Civeria.
Yeah.
I goes, that was my guy before the tournament started. He goes, he's a few strokes back. You'd have to get Lowry. But he goes, that if you want to make a play, that's the guy I go to. And then 5 hours later, I texted him. I go,
Unbelievable.
It's instantaneous. And of course, it doesn't convert every time.
Of course.
From his perspective, wagering, what he does, he plays daily fantasy.
Yeah.
And now he's not allowed to bet because the casinos and the books are hip to him. So if he were to do it, he would have to have runners who would place them for him.
Sure.
But he does daily fantasy, and daily fantasy isn't just about who you think is going to win. You also have to, it's like a market, and there's so much game theory applied to it. So in 2026, as you and I are sitting here, most people, probably like 2,000, if there was daily fantasy 26 years ago, everybody's putting Tiger Woods on their roster.
Right.
So when he builds out his rosters, under no circumstances is he putting Scottie Scheffler on it, because you can't win because now you're with 50% of the rosters.
Right.
So what he does, and he has no personal problem with Scottie Scheffler's never on the roster, and if Scheffler doesn't win, that immediately eliminates 50% of the rosters, which now gives him an advantage.
Sure.
And then he finds the Nico Echeverrias,
right,
and he hits on those, and I'll just sit there and go, I'm always in awe of it. You know, it's like flipping the back of the book and the answer key before the event's even completed.
Yeah, so interesting, because with the data, you can figure out what this golf course requires. And that is where the rubber meets the road. And it's so interesting because we've got the Players' Championship coming up, and that is the most wide open betting field to me of the year. You know, Tiger's won it twice. You get great names. JT's won it. Rory's won it twice, but so has Fred Funk, Stephen Ames, my buddy Craig Perks. All great guys, great players. But that golf course is so demanding that when you tee it up on Thursday from a betting perspective, it is wide open. And then we go to the Masters in another month or so, and it's the tightest of all. 80% of the winners come from the top 16 in the world at Augusta. 80%. And you look at them, and every once in a while you get the Danny Willets of the world, you get the Angel Cabreras and things like that. But for the most part, it's the winners at Augusta are the who's who.
Absolutely. And I feel like, and maybe you'll be able to point to one that I'm forgetting here, but I feel like it's been a pretty good run of the best in the 2020s.
Yeah.
You had the Willett, Sergio, P. Reed run of 16, 17, and 18. Yeah. But I think Willett, we would probably agree, was more handed that than anything with Spieth's collapse. But it's amazing how that works in Augusta and how in Ponte Vedra you could see, you know, like I like a Jacob Bridgman, as we're saying here, a guy who's playing really good golf, who's rock solid. What's interesting to me is they've grown out the rough this week, and I'll be curious to see if that changes the data point.
It does. It changes the way that, so they can make that golf course play really firm and fast, or they can make it play more like a U.S. Open style. And to me, when we move from May to March, it's an entirely different animal. Because they can get terrible, cold weather, rainy. I can remember playing there in a turtleneck, rain gear the whole time, and hitting a 7-iron to 17. You know, that green looks like it's about this big. And that wasn't the only thing in my body that was about this big. Everything was puckered up on that tee. But it's just so interesting that golf course can have so many different facets to it if you grow the rough up. Because typically it's resort-ish style off the tee. Not all of them, but there's some pretty wide fairways. The ninth fairway is probably 70 yards wide. But then you can start narrowing that in, change some of your sight lines, and then all of a sudden it turns into, because what we have as a group of players now, that all they do is drive the ball. I mean, there's not much consideration. Watching Shane Lowry, you brought up the Cognizant last couple of weeks ago, go to iron off the 16 and look like trying to hit a hook over. I was like, wait a second, you're a fader in the left. There's again, he's leading the tournament by 3 shots. He's 3 holes to go. I'm sure he's making a lot of good decisions, but where that one came from.
It was, that gets into the mental element of the game, because then you saw his tee shot on 17, and I don't know. I mean, I literally have stayed right where his ball went.
Oh, he nearly hit it.
And he nearly hit it. That was my neighbor. And I'm going, I mean, if I did that, I'd be like, oh boy, what's going on?
What happened? You look down at the face of Rob and think maybe something happened. But it just shows you what pressure does.
That's what I'm saying. He's unfortunately got a track record, a 54-hole record where he only has the one conversion, and that, of course, was the Open.
Right.
it is hometown, and that speaks to the mental element of the game. And I think for people who may be starting to get into it, that's where you learn the importance of that. That also is why I enjoy wagering. It can be a nominal amount. It just
gives you a little
puts you to the test.
Yeah.
It just puts you to the test. And I personally love that part of the game. I think that's why I love poker and golf, because there's some.
Well, the poker's got a lot of odds in it. I mean, you're computing, and
yes.
I want to, before I let you go, I got to tell you a few stories I know about some of the great poker players and gambling on the golf course.
Oh, I need to hear this.
If you were to rate Shane Lowry's tee shot on 17 as a professional golfer, with a 1 being, I don't know if I even hit the ball, and a 10 being I hold it, that's a 1.1.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Because he could hit a toe duck hook and hit it in the left bunker and get it up and down and still have the.
He's fine.
He's just fine. He's going to have a 2-shot lead and then a 1-shot lead when Nico birdies 18. But the one thing that I want to tell you about that I know you can relate because of momentum, and when you play poker, and the things that we like about gambling is that we got that adrenaline, we got that pump, we got that. When if Shane can birdie 18 after this complete disaster at Cognizant, if he can birdie 18, he finishes solo second to me, which will give him, which is the largest amount of gap between a finishing place besides first. So it's probably worth close to $500,000 to him. And he had no chance.
No.
When the air leaves the balloon, it's like, can someone just take me away? You know, how do I do this? I hate this. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I know I just played 69 holes better than any human could, and now I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know my right hand from my left.
I hear the term, and you can speak to it, what do I know? But like everything speeds up, and so you want to be present. And I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
So you start, first of all, when you get out when adrenaline comes through, you're like, that's why you can run a little faster, you might be able to jump a little higher, things like that. In golf, when you speed up your golf swing, it's usually a bad thing.
Yeah.
So quick, jerky motions in golf are not what we're after. We're off a slow, syrupy, just kind of staying within your rhythm. When that adrenaline kicks in, everything speeds up either a half a tick or a full tick. So I remember when I was working with Paul Azinger and Fox, we watched Tiger closely. And we were like, this dude is coming off the tee in slow motion. He just fired a drive out there, 350. He's got that, his recoil is faster than most people's downswings are. And so we know he's running at a 10, and he's over there. It's a lope to me. It's this. And then we look closely at him because we got all the cameras. And we're like, he's blinking slower. He's like, it's like, I don't know if it was the Buddhism, but Paul and I were a little crazy about this. As you can tell, but it was so interesting because it's this thing where if you could, you would run after your ball.
Yeah.
You'd be like, let's go, let's hurry up and play. Will you hurry up? I can't wait. I'm playing great. I want this to continue. But it's so counterintuitive because your instincts are like, go. And to win, you have to go, just relax, dude. And you're like, come on. Yeah. And so what Lowry said about the Cognizant was, all he had was this image of his ginger-headed, red-headed little daughter who had never seen him win a championship before, running down the hill and hugging daddy. And then, as a dad, you're like, does it get better than that?
That's what you're waiting for, yeah. And now he's thinking he lost it. And he watched Echeverria from the 17 tee run that putt in on 17, and now he knows he has to respond. Yeah, I just think he lost it. And it speaks to the mental side of the game, even for a major champion who, as he said in his post-round press conference, how was I able to do it at Bethpage and sink what was the winning putt, but then I fell apart at the Cognizant Classic.
Well, you don't have a guarantee. I think that's what we love about this thing. Mm-hmm. Even Jordan and LeBron missed shots here and there.
Absolutely.
So, and Brady didn't win every Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, and if they did, to me, I think if we had that part of the game where there was this, I'll say this word that it doesn't belong in golf, but mastery, I don't think we like it as much.
Yeah, you like
we're nuts. We're complete idiots. I mean,
I don't like it. Because you're always chasing it. It is really the same thing as poker, because even if you're perfect, it's not all under your control. Even when it came to golf, you got to worry about, the other guys. And in the game of poker, you got the elements of luck. And so that is the torture that we seek for whatever reason.
Oh, that's some therapy. I wanted to tell you just briefly about some of the poker players at Phil Hellmuth and some of the other guys that used to play. The rounds were way too slow for them. So they'd start all of this side action where they'd say, they'll throw a ball on the tee and they'll go, I'll bet you $1 million you can't hit your 7-iron over that tree. And the guy's like, you're on. And I mean, they'd have all of this side action where balls would be flying all these different directions. And they're all playing in Vegas most of the time. Where these guys just have this, the thrill of it and the amount of money they were winning in the day. I don't know, is that still the World Series of Poker?
It's still going on.
It's not nearly as popular, I guess, to me.
I mean, it because online got shut down in 2011. So that's when I kind of got away from it. Speaking of which, I mean, what a story he has been. Anthony Kim. So I'm in Palm Springs. We're both friends with Joe Buck.
Yeah.
And went out there with him. Joe and I were working on something, and he had to MC Ben Crane, his charity event. It was at Madison Club. And
not a bad place.
Not a bad place. Yeah. But this was in my retirement from golf, so I don't even know what it is. And so we were going to go and meet with Joe's agent in LA, and he goes, I got to stop off here and MC this. I'll get you a place to spend the night. He goes, you guys I went with my wife. We didn't have kids at the time. And we're going to stop off here, and I got to MC the event. We're just like, okay, we'll hang out. We don't know. We're just happy to be here. Yeah. You know, again, I'm from Tamman, Nottingham, in South City. Yeah, we're going to Chesterfield. So we go out there, and it's me and my wife, and it's 2012. And he's like, why don't you guys go to the event? And I'm like, we're just going to hang. We didn't know what it was.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. And he goes, just go ahead. So I wear, a T-shirt, this old green cardinal cap, St. Patrick's Day Irish thing. My wife doesn't get dolled up, and we sit there. And he goes, oh, yeah, God, this guy's one of the most entertaining guys in the PGA Tour. Sitting next to you, this is Pat Perez. I have no idea who Pat Perez is, but he's sitting on my right. Behind me is a table of John Elway, Mary Hart, Tony Robbins. And I'm just like, what am I doing here? My wife's like, I can't believe we didn't get dressed up. What are you doing?
I know your wife's like,
oh my God. And then, Joe's emceeing it. And then they go, ladies and gentlemen, a private performance tonight by Glenn Fry of the Eagles. And so Glenn Fry just gets up there and starts performing. But what are we doing here? You're looking at your South City. What are we doing here? So obviously I'm glad that we went to the event. It goes without saying. Winds up being an entertaining night. The next day, after Joe played the tournament, we were flying from Palm Springs to Santa Monica, and we're sitting there waiting for him at Madison Club. Again, I don't know anything about it because I'm not playing golf. I didn't even know who Pat Perez was at the time. And a guy comes up to Joe and goes, hey, JB, you mind if I hitch a ride with you? And it's Anthony Kim. And so for the next hour, Joe's on the flight, and my wife's on the flight, but it's me and Anthony talking gambling stories. And he is, stories that are at another level.
Totally.
I mean, because he's buddies with all these poker guys who I know of them, but it's not like I'm rolling with them. I can't roll with them. I mean, he's talking about Phil Ivey. Phil Ivey's like he's oftentimes called the Tiger Woods poker.
Yep.
And that's who he
was part of those golf stories.
I'm sure when you were saying Ivey had to have been there. Ivey had to have been there. I know he's a big golfer and he's an absurd poker player. And that's who Anthony Kim was talking about hanging out with. And the amount of dollars he was talking about playing, we got off the flight. Girl was waiting for him to pick him up at the airport, and then we went on about our way. And Joe and I looked at each other like, holy crap, like, what in the world was that? And that was like right before he went into...
Stepped away.
Yes.
Yeah, he got an injury. He hurt his thumb badly. And Anthony's a friend of mine. I've been trying to get him to do something. But he is traveling. But Timmy, that's the best story that will come out in 2026. Not even close.
I mean, to do that against DeChambeau and Rahm.
That's who we played with in the final round over in Adelaide, Australia, LaGrange Club, which I played. It's unbelievable.
It's just an incredible story. And, again, I happened to get a peek at it. I mean, just by a mere coincidence. And I remember, and I wasn't following the game, wasn't playing the game, but I'm like, this is Anthony Kim. I got to pay attention. And then it became about a decade story of where is Anthony Kim? Nobody knew where he was. Right. And then he came back and he did interviews and said he had gone through plenty. And I felt like I got a little peek at it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, the game has passed him by. And instead, to his credit, unreal story.
I would have never guessed it. I wanted it, I would have never guessed it. When Anthony Kim was playing, there were a few guys where you'd stop and watch. Anthony Kim was one of those guys. He could hit every shot. And Anthony had that Tiger brashness about him, and you probably saw.
He was 2008 Ryder Cup.
And he was not afraid to play the tour the way he wanted to, so to speak. So it was out late. He wasn't, most of the guys on tour are sock sorters, and they love doing the same thing over there. That was not a kid.
No, the stories on that plane did not involve sorting socks.
No. Ironing your underwear was not part of that. But you also could see where a young guy like him having so much success early, and then easily you could see stepping into the wrong direction, so to speak, and going dark.
And then, but playing for what he was playing for when he was telling these stories, oh my goodness. But then you're sitting there going, I guess this isn't true. I don't know. And then he comes back out of his, hiding and tells these stories. And as it turns out, it really was what was going on in his life. But it's a movie, it's a book, it's a 30 for 30 waiting to happen. Anthony Kim going from wherever he was to his resurgence. It makes me hopeful for him,
Before, absolutely. And he's talking about coming full circle in terms of his personality and a lot of humble pie. And I'm sure he never dreamed he'd play this kind of golf again. It's got to be a dream come true. I got to ask you before I let you go. And again, thank you so much for all this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
When you guys do your show, your team, so I was just listening today, and it's like when you guys add my buddy Joe Vitale.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I could be driving backwards. I could be driving from the back seat. When Joe starts talking about bread or starts talking about some sort of Italian recipe.
Yeah, he wakes up at 4 in the morning to make sourdough bread, just like it's standard behavior.
Yeah, like, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't know. No. And then you got Doug who's over there, and Mark, the personalities are great. But how do you guys put together the show? How does that come about?
I know this sounds unbelievable, I guess, but truly, I get up at around 5:15. I'll listen to podcasts and I read. And the station's about 15 minutes from my house where we do the show, the studios, and I leave, no BS. It's 6:40 to 6:41 every day. We start at 7 o'clock. So I'm playing, we got an accident, we got a problem.
Yeah, right. No lights screwed up here. I'm going to be late.
But I walk in there. Today I walked in at 6:58. I'm usually listening to a podcast on my phone as I walk into the studio. Producer Jackson, you referenced, says we go in 30 seconds, and we just go. And truly, for the next 4 hours, I have no idea where we're going. I just know we're going to get home.
So it's just I guess that's the thing that comes through, because the authenticity of it is what I love.
Yeah,
because you're not going to hear anything like this.
I guess I don't know. That's very kind of you to say. I mean, it's just super fun. It's the listener interaction. The audience is a critical, I can't emphasize this enough, the audience interaction with the text and the YouTube chat has always been a part of the show. So the members of the audience, many of them are way better than we are. They just have chosen a better career and didn't decide to be broadcasters. So you got guys sitting there making a bunch of money in finance going, I can entertain these morons.
That's right. And they're not even right on their date. That's what I love. I think I said Phil Mickelson won his 48th tournament somewhere, and it was 47. I got all these emails. I don't care if Phil wins 300 tournaments. Well, thanks. I really appreciate it.
I love it, man. Thank you for having me on. Thank you so much. It was great, Jay. Thank you.
This was Tim McKernan. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We'll be back with more.